Welcome back to the Boys Club with Nathan and Danny, where we have no lines.
We got no lines, but we got amazing followers, amazing likes on our page, amazing listeners. Thank you guys for everything. Keep in touch with us on our Facebook, Boys Club, or if you have anything to say to us on our Gmail, boysclub@gmail.com, and we have Twitter as well. We are taking on the world.
We are actually absolutely crushing it. But I'd like to actually present our first sponsor for this episode by Be Better to the number 2 together.com. And Be Better Together provides adult products with modesty, sensitivity, and confidentiality, which brings us to the topic of this week's episode.
Nice. What is the topic?
Well, we call them relationship enhancers, right? Or otherwise known as sex toys.
Sex toys, okay. We've never gone over this line before.
It's true. We're just going to keep crushing the lines. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
As some of you may or may not know, Better Together has gotten some PR, and we're going to talk about some sex toys that, in different kind of contexts, I guess, in the Jewish world. The thing we're going to open up, I guess the topic we're going to open up with today is, let's say, the social norms in the Jewish world with sex toys. Are sex toys, is that okay?
Yeah, let's call them sex toys.
Okay.
For sure.
The social norms in the Jewish world
If we
with
can
sex
say
toys.
orgasm, we can say sex toys, right?
It's true, or masturbation.
Okay. Or masturbation. Right.
So, look, I have no doubt that the sex toys in the Jewish world are very taboo. Very taboo.
Okay.
I reckon there aren't a lot of people who are willing to talk about it. There aren't a lot of people who are willing to actually share that they actually have one or that they use one. That's my impression of it.
But it's not really something you talk about at a dinner party, like, good Shabbos everybody, and how was your vibrator Erev Shabbos?
Right.
Like, it isn't really something we
Actually, you should try out this dildo I've been using. No, I agree with you.
I just have to say, on the Shabbos point, I know
Yes.
I'm jumping in over here.
Yeah.
There was a wind-up vibrator created in England, right? That one probably could use on Shabbat. I never really looked into it halachically, but it wasn't...
That opens a whole different...
Yeah.
Wow.
They closed down. And I think it's because the Jews didn't know about it. If the Jews knew about it, it's like, who else uses Shabbos clocks? No one else in the world uses a Shabbos. What does the rest of the world call a Shabbos clock?
A timer?
A timer. No one else uses a timer. The Jews are funding the timers of the world.
Well, that's
the Jews could have really funded this whole thing.
Got a niche market.
Niche market, yeah.
Yeah, I guess the same way that there's an app called Glide, right?
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Glide? So they're like the video version of WhatsApp, right?
Okay.
And what they do is basically you send videos of each other. Now, what they started seeing a spike in is in the deaf community.
Wow.
Because people can sign.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
That's really awesome.
there's a massive spike in the hearing impaired community, and Glide is. So this could be the same kind of thing.
Where there's a deficit, there's room for profit.
Exactly. They should have
Awesome.
definitely taken a pivot towards the Jewish community. And
If you are listening to us and you started that company,
the wind-up dildo.
get in touch with us, boysclub.com. We are literally the
Waiting.
people- We're waiting.
We're waiting for you. Waiting for your call.
We're waiting
See if we
for
can
your
try
call.
and help you out and see if we can try and get that
Boost
business
your
back on the
profits.
ground.
All right, so social norms of the...
I'll tell you one of the problems.
Yeah.
One of the problems with sex toys is that a lot of people, I would say in the Jewish world, but also in the world in general, is that there is this connection between sex toys and porn.
Yeah.
Right? That sex toys is only used for porn. I don't need a sex toy. It's dirty. It's filthy. It's something that should be left in the Goyish world.
Yeah.
It's something for the non-Jews, and Jews shouldn't use it because of it's dirty. I find that very troubling. I think it's something that the Jewish world is definitely lacking out in experiencing as something that it could definitely enhance relationships. I mean, I'm not going to share whether I've used anything, whether alone or whether in any of my relationships, but I think that what people need to understand is that you're doing something behind closed doors, which is between you and someone else that you trust, and you're experiencing something which can only enhance your relationship. The way that actually the term is called with yeah.
So I have to agree with you. I've done a lot of research on this. I have dealt with it quite a bit, and I went to a very famous rabbi, and I asked his opinion on sex toys, and he pretty much said to me, I want you to speak to this sex therapist. His name's David Ribner. He's like the big daddy of sex therapists in Israel. And I want you to take his guidance on this. And I found that really interesting because this rabbi was saying to me, if it's through communication like the Rambam says...
Oh, sorry. Were you surprised that he even knew that this guy existed?
Yeah. No, I wasn't surprised at all because rabbis who are really on the ground dealing with what their communities need to deal with do know about these things. There are many rabbis that are doing that, unfortunately, and that's one of the reasons that we're here. Right? But this rabbi is, this rabbi, I'm sure, has dealt with absolutely everything under the sun that you can think of.
Okay.
And his advice was, if you want advice, you need to speak to the sex therapist. In other words, it's not about necessarily whether it's a dirty thing or not dirty thing. There's no specific halachic problem with it. What you need to make sure to do is take guidance from...
Like a health and like a mental health kind of...
It's I don't know, mental health, emotional, relationship. It's all about that. There's nothing that's standing out going, that's a disgusting thing. The rest of the world use it in porn or discussing things. We can't do it.
That's really interesting, I think, that a very well-known rabbinical authority. Is that how you couldn't classify it?
Definitely.
Okay. So it's very well-known.
And I'd be happy to say his name. The thing is, I haven't asked his permission, so...
Okay, no problem. Let's see if we can get his name on next week.
Not a problem.
And I find it really interesting that you've approached this guy about a very taboo kind of subject, which I think a lot of listeners out there might want to be able to know what a rabbinic authority might 100%. Say about this kind of thing. 100%. And the fact that he's come back to you and he said, don't speak to me, speak to a sex therapist about it, that sends so many clear messages to people out there.
Yeah.
Go out there, I mean, obviously in a safe, secure, and I'm sure that the rabbi would probably, prefer that it was done in a married kind of framework.
Oh yeah, we were definitely talking about married.
Right, and so... Go out there, try as many sex toys as you can.
Well, I don't know if he said that. He definitely didn't say that.
I'm just reading between the lines.
Yeah, of course, it's you read however you want to interpret.
Look, someone told me once, variety is the spice of life. So,
Look, listen, if we want to just quickly talk about the halachic aspects, okay? There are definitely problems with certain sex toys for men, right, that may create... finishing outside his wife, which is a halachic problem, which we can discuss another time as well, because that's a whole other thing, right? The main thing is that the man signs a ketubah saying that a marriage contract saying he's going to provide sex for his wife. He's going to provide those physical needs for his wife. There are many women out there that are not satiated by whatever it is. The issues. So therefore, if a man is going to use it to please his wife and enhance their love, as long as they can communicate about it and all that type of stuff, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that's a great thing. He's fulfilling an awesome thing. Like I said on, I think it was our discussion with Ariella, over 70% of women do not orgasm without foreplay and external... Give me a word.
Influences.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is an external influence, right? Yeah. That can really help you there. That, as far as I understand, really is this better togethers thing.
Right.
It's called better together because it's not about like the rest of the world have connected it to porn or connected it to some woman going and doing what she wants. By herself because her husband doesn't get it to give it to her. It's more, yalla, let's do this together. It could really enhance our physical relationship.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I covered the halachic issues. Oh, by the way, for the... just go on. Yeah.
No, go on.
There's certain... I don't know if we were going to talk about this, but there, we have a question later on that someone sent in about oral sex.
Okay.
Right? There are certain communities in the Jewish world that have issues because of mentioning this in the Shulchan Aruch, in the Code of Jewish Law, about giving oral sex to a female.
Okay.
Something like, if someone has an issue with that, something like a sex toy can solve that problem, because it's not about her having the pleasure. It's about the man actually being there, maybe seeing her private parts in different ways that he shouldn't see it, according to certain interpretations. Something like a sex toy can give her that amazing pleasure that she needs, and that he has to give her according to halachic parameters, without him going there and feeling uncomfortable about halacha.
I find it fascinating, first of all, that Jewish law puts that as one of the foundational kind of responsibilities of a man to be able to provide for his wife. I find that really, really fascinating. And what I find even more fascinating is that because the world has evolved, and there's this concept of these things that are being used in the non-Jewish world, which can be used in the Jewish world, but people are kind of, sex and behind closed doors, and, we really talk about it and this and that. Yeah. So, but there are these things that are out there that people can use to enhance their relationships and be able to explore and be able to, find creative ways of being able to give each other pleasure. I think those things are really, really, really important and should be very much encouraged by rabbinical authorities. It's sad that there aren't more rabbis out there. I'm not expecting a rabbi to say in his Shabbat
from the
drasha,
pulpit,
to start preaching, buy sex toys and everyone should be using.
Anyone who comes to my shiur gets 20% off.
Although I'm sure the Daf Shavua, I'm sure the newsletters that come out, the Parashat Shavua would be a little bit different. The advertising would be a little bit different, a bit more. I think people wouldn't fall asleep as much.
I think it has to. Sorry, carry it.
No. So what I was going to say is that I think that it's something that if it is done in a very tsanua, in a very modest way, and done in a very relaxed and the right kind of framework, I don't see why anyone should view this as something negative. One of the reasons why I think we wanted to, or that we were happy to have this sponsorship by Better Together, is because Better Together does that in a very, very kind of modest way. Even their packaging, from what I understand, is very, no one knows what's inside it. No one knows that you're actually ordering a sex toy, or it could be, 101 things under there, but it's done in a very, very closed way. And even the site itself, for a lot of the sites that you want to try and order some of this stuff, it's really quite out there. Like some of these sites
are a real issue.
Some of these sites are like erotic sites, and they've got a lot of really perverted kind of pictures, and they've got images, and there's advertising for all kinds of porn sites and all that kind of stuff. And some people just don't want that. Some people just want to be able to. It's like, you can't really compare it in this way, but some people just like you want to go to do your shopping and online and be able to order 4 cartons of milk.
Yeah,
you don't want to see all the, right. So it's the same kind of thing. You're doing it in a very kind of modest, tsanua way.
There are also emotional problems. Even stepping away from halacha, Jewish law, for a second, there are emotional problems. Let's say somebody has discussed this with their wife, right? And she said, you know what, I feel a bit uncomfortable. Will you buy it for us? It's an anniversary present, all right? A bit of a different anniversary present, birthday present, whatever it is, right? And he's like, yeah, not a problem. Okay, we've discussed we want a small little vibrator to start and whatever. And he looks on some site, and all of a sudden, instead of seeing his wife, thinking about how his wife is going to be using this enhancement for them, he goes on some site and sees some woman he doesn't know in some position I was going to say he doesn't want to see, but, the marketers know what he wants to see. Yeah. All of a sudden, he buys this vibrator off some crazy site, and his wife doesn't look as pleased as the woman on the site looked. She thinks, oh my gosh, I don't look as hot excuse me saying so, as a woman on the package.
Attractive, yeah.
And instead of creating something positive between them, all of a sudden they've got something negative.
With these emotional games.
These emotional games and mind, like, you know, worries that they don't need to have or whatever. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that the Jewish world have really distanced themselves from things like this.
Well, that's actually something that goes back to what we were talking about with porn. It goes back to the whole issue of, you know, the stuff that they're saying is fake.
Yeah.
The stuff that these people would be showing you when you're buying these kinds of products on other sites is fake. It's marketing. That's what they're bringing you. I think you know, without being a marketing, you know, the marketing campaign behind Better Together, I think what we're trying to say more is that using these kinds of products are it's just as important the way that you go about buying them as it is the way that you're going to use them.
Oh, that's such an awesome line.
So I think we need to make sure that everyone out there understands we're not here to plug Better Together. We're here to be able to, I mean, we are, but this is not an episode about plugging Better Together. It's an episode about plugging sex toys and these relationship enhancers to be able to understand that using them and being able to use them in the right way, and it doesn't go as far as just using them.
Yeah.
You need to go through the process of buying them.
Yeah.
Going through the process of buying them is not really it's not as easy as it sounds. It's not like going online, right? But so how would you approach your wife about saying, honey,
would you like to?
I've heard of these things that could give you, you know, pleasure, but they look like a penis. Or
I was going to say phallic, but yeah, no lines,
phallic.
Go for it.
Or they, you know, they have electricity, you know, connected to them and they vibrate, or, you know, that there is...
We're trying to play a guessing game with them, like...
Right, and they move in all kinds of different directions. Like, I think that it would be just as, maybe even scary for the woman to be able to even think about why the male or a man would want to talk to his wife about getting one of those, as well as start, like, if she even opens her mind to be able to even think that she might want one. Looking at some of these things, I mean, if we just go to the Better Together website for a second and just see some of these, like the catalog that they have here, there are so many things that can be bought, and they look strange and they look weird. We'll have a bit of a review a bit later on in the episode.
If you've ever bought anything off Better Together, please let us know so we can review your product.
we're going to have a bit of a review of what some of these things look like and what they're used for. But some of these things just look, they look a little bit painful. I got to be honest. I mean, some of them look like, I'm not sure where you put some of this stuff.
Okay, so...
I mean, how do you go to your wife or your husband and say, this is something that I would... I mean, you're not saying it in this blatant terms, but maybe you should, and say, this is something that I would like. This is something that I would like to try. This is something that we could possibly use in our relationship. And
so I think there's two angles that one could take. Okay, one is like a sit-down discussion. Danny.
No, I'm just trying to picture that in my mind.
Two ways that you could do this in my mind. And if you have any tips, anyone, please let us know all over Facebook how you spoke to your partner about getting a sex toy.
Yeah.
But
he's joking.
Yeah, I'm joking. I think there's two ways that you could do it. One is that it's a sit-down conversation, like anything in our relationship. We've got to be communicative. We've got to talk about this. We're two mature human beings over here. My love, I heard that there's certain products out there that could really help us enhance our sex life. Either we're having a specific issue, or we're not having a specific issue, and I'd like to, have some fun around our sex life. Do you want to go and look on this site with me? What do you feel about a product that would help you have pleasure? You know, open up those questions.
Right.
The other way that you could do it, and this really, I think, from the man, if it's a man buying, has to be a very pure mindset that...
Sorry. Just to add on to that point, is that I think you should also make sure that you're bringing this subject up in a private environment.
Yeah,
where you've got
like
some
kids
comfortable...
should probably go to bed first.
Yes,
Yeah.
as well as you should not be around family and friends, and you should not be, on an airplane, or you should be somewhere where there is a lot of people around you. Try and do it in the comfort and the privacy of your own home, or in the car where no one else is there. Try and make sure that you... Some people don't necessarily know or understand the
importance of privacy. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So the first, I think the first, and I'm not like a maven, is that? I'm not
an expert
on how to communicate with your wife about a sex toy. I'm just giving my mindset. It would either be a sit-down conversation, either about an issue you're having, or want to, power up the creativity in your sex life, or
power up. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. Or it could just be you go on the site, you buy it, right?
Surprise.
Something simple. No, seriously, something simple. And then you say, what?
It's our anniversary?
Yeah, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
you say, but that's the thing, like people make a bigger thing out of it than it really is.
No, you're right. You're right.
Buy the thing, don't buy anything scary, because there are lots of things there that don't look scary. Right? A small little thing that vibrates or whatever it is, wrap it up nicely and say, obviously, once again, in a private place of your home or whatever, and say, my love, I bought this thing. We really don't need to use it, but I thought maybe we could try it. Right? And make less of a big deal about it than everyone does.
Than it needs to be.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a big thing, right? The one thing that I would put out there is if someone's having a sexual issue, and these things are not only for people having sexual issues, but if someone is having a sexual issue, or like they're in a real downer, and them and their wife or them and their husband have had a really bad sex life for 6 years, whatever it is, don't like in the middle of an argument about it go, well, let's just buy a dildo. I don't think that that's going to help the relationship. It has to be a loving, caring interaction.
Well, one thing's for sure.
Yes.
Screaming that out in the middle of an argument would probably make them both laugh.
Yeah, maybe.
So it might break up some tension, but it probably wouldn't be productive and conducive towards actually getting something.
Something that also needs to be out there, because I know that we have some non-Jewish listeners, is that there is a different mindset around female pleasure. That some non-Jewish people feel that it's like part of... it's not right for a woman to want or to act on those pleasures.
Really?
Right? But, in other words, masturbation.
I think it's in the Jewish world as well.
Okay, I know some really awesome sex therapists like Ariella Perry and others that say sometimes a Jewish woman, a non-Jewish woman, actually has to learn her body.
Yeah.
And that they can use things like this.
Yeah.
So it's important to just put it out there that if you're going to... do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Right.
But according to the mindset that I think is probably accepted amongst everyone, is if this is something to improve your sex life with your husband or wife,
try yourself,
then it's an awesome thing. If it's something that's by yourself, okay, then you need to ask your rabbi, your priest, your husband, your wife, whatever it is, your authority, if you care about those authorities' opinions.
That's interesting. Oh no, I would think that if you're using it with by yourself, I would think that you probably depends how close you are, I guess, with that authority that you would want to ask them, you want to speak to them about it. You're saying towards in terms of Jewish law. You're saying in terms of Jewish law, you should ask.
I'm not telling anyone what to do. Okay. I'm just saying that if somebody feels that there are issues in a religious mindset, Jewish or not, it's one of the reasons that we're here.
That's interesting. I would have thought that in the non-Jewish world that people would just go willy-nilly. They just go crazy, like do whatever it is you want to do.
No. I mean, I have thank God I have some awesome connections with a community called the DJC community, Danny Johnson's community. And they're very much in the mindset of, in every part of our life, we want to do what God wants from us.
Uh-huh.
Even, in the most,
Okay.
in the Jewish way as well. Right? Even in the most sexual area, a place where we think God isn't, God is there.
Right.
And I want to know what the, the right thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Fulfill what God wants is.
Okay.
If you've had any experience with this type of stuff and you want to give like nice advice to people, let us know. Email us on boysclub@gmail.com. And we'll, first of all, read through your email, and then if we think that it's fitting, we're happy to let people know. But one of the things that I'd love to put it out there, but I'm not sure our listeners are ready, like to put a bit of a seker, survey out there,
or
like
a
poll. Yeah. Like if you've used this stuff, if it's a positive thing, if it's a negative thing, whatever. I don't know.
I don't know if our listeners would be so into.
As I'm saying, email us, and so that it's not a public thing out there.
Yeah.
And I'd love to put it out there to make people hopefully feel better.
That'd be great.
If we could say, half of our 1,000+ listeners have used these things.
It's actually interesting. It's actually interesting because I mean, at the meeting that we were having last week with Wilson, he was kind of saying that when we told him that we were thinking about doing this subject, so one of the pieces of little tidbits that he came up with was that actually in Japan, they've come up with a sex suit for virtual reality.
Only Wilson knows things like this.
I mean, this is... you know what virtual reality is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just imagine you're in a room.
Yeah.
You're about to put this suit on. Everyone knows what the suit's for. And do you get in there naked? Do you get in there with clothes? I'm just trying to picture, what you would be... How the process of what you would be... You get into this suit...
But even before, it's like, you turn up for the appointment. Hi, my name's Bob. Right. I'm here for my appointment. And the lady or the man behind the counter is like... Sure, nice to meet you. Please put your details here.
Probably they'd have to go through, danger, like safety concerns.
Do you have heart issues? The worst is who's your next of kin? Right. If you have a heart attack, who would you like us to contact?
Insurance issues that you need to have to... Insurance waivers, I guess.
Yep.
And then if, chas v'chadillah, you actually end up, people have died having sex. Right, so maybe you get electrocuted. Maybe
oh my god,
that could be serious danger.
Serious danger. So, dangerous.
Get to the hospital. So what are you in for? The guy next to you. I cut my arm off, with an axe or whatever. What are you in for?
Sex suit.
Yeah, electrocuted by a sex suit. I think that would. I don't know about you. I would probably stay away from the sex suit, but in that vein. What we would like to do is go over some of these products that we're seeing here on the Better Together website. I'd like to say the Better Together website is actually done really, really nicely. It's very, very smooth. It's very clear cut. You have a menu at the top. In the shop area, you've got the different kinds of, topics or, different kinds of things that you could probably get. It's got inner, it's got outer. You've got different rings that you can get or romantic stuff that you can get. It looks like it's a very well thought out kind of plan. So let's go into the inner section.
Straight to the inner.
No, it's the first one that's on the list. All right, so it's saying here that there are different kinds of products that you can get, and you're forced to look at these products that very, very quickly tell you what they're for. I mean, like you said, they're phallic. They have. They're shaped in a certain way. Some of them have buttons on them. Let's take a couple of examples just to be able to describe to the people what what we're looking at right here. Some of these things are really, really quite interesting. Wow, this is called the Classic Rabbit. We talk about this. Actually, you know what? I actually prefer looking at this site rather than... being forced to look at images that are, porn and women doing whatever the hell they're doing to themselves.
So it's not so scary, you're saying?
It's not scary
because I have picked up that you've said scary a few times.
Well, it's not scary. Scary is the wrong word. I apologize. Scary is definitely not the wrong word. I got to be honest. I'm quite enjoying it. I mean,
without the naked women, you're enjoying it.
It just opens up. It just opens up a world of different things that I never knew existed. I mean, Okay, so let's take the classic rabbit for a second.
Okay.
All right. This thing is a beautiful, beautiful shade of pink. It has a couple of buttons at the bottom, which the description, if you go into the description, it tells you a little bit about what it's for. It has 7 vibrating functions. It's got 7 rotating functions, 4 rotation and vibration speeds.
Just this rotating thing, I have spoken to sex therapists about it.
Okay.
This rotating thing, instead of just vibrating thing,
Yeah.
we're getting a little bit
Into the details.
into the details over here, but it's more for older women who have problems really feeling much.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Just putting it out there.
But what I am going to say is that it also says here that it's waterproof. I think that's a pretty good
Important.
Yeah, it's a pretty important point. Let's look at a very classic kind of product. It's called the Be Mine Classic. It's a beautiful shade of purple.
You like the colours.
I do.
You really like the colours over here.
You gotta enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very intimate kind of thing that we're dealing
You're
with.
right.
And this looks beautiful. It's a beautiful shape. It looks like it's easy to handle.
Doesn't look scary. That's the issue. Like something like this,
Not at all.
I think that's something that is a lot less scary for a husband to turn up with for his wife, or the wife to say, hey,
Right.
I want to buy something like this,
Right.
than maybe that rabbit, which is like a bit of a hectic thing. This is like pretty simple.
And this is also waterproof. But something that does scare me, 3 hours of runtime. Alright. Okay, you win. I can't compete with that. Alright, that goes without saying.
Danny, are you getting...
Oh, but batteries are included.
Batteries are included.
That's definitely
There
a
you go.
bonus, and it's not badly priced either.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that you guys out there should have a look at. Can we have a look at this?
I don't know what that is. Gotta say.
Okay, all right. So
But let's go. Let's look at it.
All right,
Let's look at it.
this is called the Delight CNC Blackberry. Okay, Blackberry.
Blackberry.
Okay?
Yeah.
It looks like a
Made by
swan.
people called the Fun Factory.
Right.
That
It actually
yes.
looks like it's got like the head of a swan.
Yeah.
But the body of a
Seahorse.
Yes. That's exactly what I was thinking. This thing's actually really, in terms of artistic looking,
design.
I'm being serious. The
Yep.
design of it is actually very, very nice.
Uh-huh.
I got to say that it
Would you
actually,
put that on your mantelpiece?
You know what? I think if I put that on my mantelpiece, not a lot of people are going to know
Would know what
it's
it's
for.
for.
It would actually look. It's easy access if you get into the mood on the house
In the lounge room or whatever.
Honey, look, I can just
Get
slip
my
over
Blackberry.
here. That could be a code word. I mean, yeah. Anyway, 100% medical grade silicone. Okay, so I guess this thing is probably a bit softer. It's not a hard kind of vibrator.
Plastic, yeah.
Intuitive controls with the royal curl. A
guess
royal
that's what
curl.
I guess that's
Interesting.
the horse.
Do we want to know why they think it's royal? Do we think the royal family might be?
No,
that's
no, please.
powerful,
No, no.
quiet. Long-lasting motor, dual stimulation. Okay, so let's read some of the description here. The Delight from the Deluxe Vibe series is considered the Rolls Royce amongst vibrators with good reason.
So this is more expensive. You can see this is more expensive
Yeah.
than some of the simple
Yeah, it
stuff.
creates a totally new sensation of passion and perfect climaxes. The playful S shape in combination with its special abilities makes it the perfect candidate for that certain extra kick.
Okay, do you think we've done our... Yeah.
That looks like a really interesting thing that I think
Okay.
people might...
Anyone who wants to buy Danny a Delight, what's it called? Blackberry.
Let's go to a different section over here.
Let's go romantic.
Okay.
Let's go romantic.
Yeah.
It's nice to be romantic.
It is nice
It's
to be
important
romantic, but sometimes it's also good to be out there. Romantic. Let's see.
Incense.
Yeah, there's
the
incense.
dice
Oh,
you
the
spoke
dice,
about.
right. That's cool. Oh, nice blindfold. Oh, I see.
Okay.
So this is kind of like the things you can use in the bedroom, which are a little not as I'm not sure what the word
I
is.
wanna-
They're kind of sensual. I guess
Yeah.
there's kind of like sensory kinds of things.
There's like a silky blindfold over there.
Yeah, you've got like handcuffs for people that want to be lose control if they've got those kind of things.
With permission from your husband or wife, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
This is, and there are hot cards here as well. What are the hot cards? Use the cards to win your fantasies. Add up the amounts scratched off on the cards. The one who with the most points wins.
Okay, that's like strip poker or something like that, right?
Interesting. It turns it into a game.
No,
like a dice.
turns it into a game.
Nice.
I actually want to say something about turning things into a game. I think that sometimes people get too serious.
Yeah.
Especially in the Jewish world,
Yeah.
because you've got, mikveh night,
Yeah.
which is this, it can be an awesome time if you do it right, but it's this very, intense time that this is the time we only have 2 weeks or whatever it is to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes you actually just have to chill it out a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about a massage, it's about a game, it's about
Just
whatever
being together,
it is. Just
cuddling.
being together,
Yeah.
cuddling,
Yeah.
tickling, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's something that the Jewish world needs to embrace. You don't have to jump for a sex toy, right? To have a creative experience
Yeah.
in your sex life. Right?
There's also
Sometimes
feathers. Some people have used feathers.
okay.
For tickling.
Tickling.
For tickling or, yeah.
Okay,
That's
sounds
also-
interesting.
I mean, it goes along the vein of not needing these, expensive things that are. Some people might think that it's a little bit evasive, or it might be a little bit more expensive than what they can afford. Sometimes feathers.
Yeah.
Feathers can do
Yeah.
it.
Or even I'm going to put it out there. I have created games for my wife and I. Very simple games.
No, like drinking game.
No, not drinking games. That's her role. But no, but games like the same thing as the dice or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Take some time out, write on 2 different colored pieces of paper
Right.
the action and place on the body,
Right.
and do it. That's investment.
Like put it into a sock or put it into
Put
a
it-
hat.
whatever
and
it
one of you
is.
pulls out, one of it. Okay.
Yeah, like invest in
Yeah, do
being
it.
creative in your sex
Do
life.
it.
If you've been married for more than however long, things get boring, things get whatever.
Yeah.
If you have to invest.
Yeah.
It's like a business.
Get
people.
creative.
Get creative. Spend some time on
A
it.
business.
It's like a business. If you want profit, you have to invest. It's very simple. I mean, it's a loving business.
You can be
and
my
it's-
CEO
And you
anytime.
can't fire anyone for not performing. Right? But anyway, see it as it's the same as education of your children.
Yeah.
If you want to bring up children with respect, children with good manners and everything, you can't just expect it to happen. You have to invest in it.
Yeah.
So
You gotta
sex
reinforce.
is exactly the same thing. Start investing in your sex life, people.
Great idea.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go into the last segment that we have for
Well,
today's
time flies, eh?
for today's session. We're going to the Naked Truth.
Yeah, Naked
If
Truth.
anyone is listening to this podcast the first time, Naked Truth is the segment that we introduced actually in our last podcast. And basically what we're going to do is take the top questions that we've received in our email or through Facebook over the past week.
That you've let us share.
Not necessarily the past week. Actually, one of these is from a couple of weeks ago. And we're going to share the question, obviously anonymously, and we're going to answer them as best to our ability.
So I'm going to read to you the first one because I feel like I've spoken too much, so you can have the floor. We've been married for 5 years, and my mother-in-law cannot disconnect from my husband. Oy vey. Okay. Her expectation is...
My mother-in-law... Oh, okay, all right.
My mother-in-law can't
Yeah.
disconnect from my husband,
Yeah.
her son,
Yeah.
right? Her expectation is that we will see them or visit them at least once a week or call at least once a day.
Whoa.
My husband feels stuck in the middle. Yeah, could understand that.
Yeah.
And it's starting to cause little fights between us. It's not that I don't like his mother or his family. It's just that we also need our space. Suggestions or advice. Awesome
Wow.
question.
Well, first of all, I definitely feel for this wife
And the husband.
and the husband. And I also feel for the mother-in-law,
Yeah.
I got to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the mother-in-law aside for now. I'm not going to go in that direction, but I'm going to speak about the wife, and I guess I'll speak a little bit about the husband as well. I think that it's a really, really, really it's a minefield. I think this situation is a minefield because on the one hand, your in-laws and your extended family are your family. There is nothing like family.
Yeah.
And I think that you want to try and do everything in your power to try and make sure that the relationship that you have is amicable, and that you, not even amicable, but you would like to enjoy being around them. They're your family.
Yeah.
And your mother-in-law, being a mother-in-law, has whatever she's got going on in her life. But the most important thing here is that you guys need to concentrate on your relationship. You need to be as honest and as honest and as sincere as possible. You have to be as open as possible and be able to understand where each other are at any given point in terms of if your husband says to you, well, maybe we just need to call her, we just need to let me call her, I'll be the one, I'll bear the brunt, it also puts a weight on the husband's shoulders, right? It also depends on what the husband's relationship with his mother is like. But I think you need to try and negate the situation as best as possible. If it was happening to me, what I would try and do is I would try and be proactive in trying to say, okay, so let's do something in 2 weeks' time, right? So then you've done that. You've gone to the zoo, or you've been together for Shabbat.
Do something with the mother-in-law.
Yeah, do something with the mother-in-law, and what you might even want to try and do is invest some time in becoming like closer to the mother-in-law, but be proactive in saying, okay, so next month we're going to let's get together for a let's get together for a
Shabbat meal or whatever.
Yeah, or we'll get together for let's go shopping, or let's get together and we'll go to the movies, or go for dinner.
Are you saying by the daughter-in-law creating specific time frames that she's going to invest in the mother-in-law, make sure the family sees the mother-in-law, make sure that the husband has interaction with his mother, she's actually pushing away some of the issues by saying, I'm going to make sure that this happens, but in between times you need to give us a little bit of space? Or is it so that she can create a good relationship with the mother-in-law so that in the end she can communicate with her the space?
I think both of those things. I think and a third thing, I think it also shows the mother-in-law that the daughter-in-law is taking an active role in trying to create those connections, that they're going to be spending time together in the future, so she doesn't have to worry that there isn't a connection there, or that she's missing out on something, or that this and that. But I do think that it opens up a channel of communication that they're also able to say, well, this week isn't really good for us because we're busy with X, Y, and Z, or whatever it might be. But the mother-in-law knows that they're going to be seeing each other in X amount of time anyway.
She can look forward to
exactly.
that. Okay.
That's what I think.
I think we should skip the second question. The truth is, because we've run out of time, I mean, what do you want to do?
Sure. No,
you know what? We just opened a YouTube channel.
Yep.
Okay, Boys Club. We're going to video the next question.
Yep.
And it'll be on our YouTube channel, Boys Club.
Go check it out.
Go check it out.
Look for us in Boys Club on YouTube. If anyone else wants to sponsor an episode in the coming weeks, please speak to us. Send us an email or send us a message on Facebook, and we would love to be able to discuss those opportunities.
Just
as well.
Some examples. If you're a restaurant that you want to put out there, a romantic option for people. If you're a therapist, if you're a sports, something to do with people's bodies, or Rabbi, a community. If you're a community having a tuba thing in a month's time, let us know. We can sponsor, we can mention you, we can plug you, all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Hope you've enjoyed listening. We'll see you all next week.
God bless you all.
Cheers.